Hi, my name is Melissa Godfrey, and I will be providing you with an advertisement and a review on the app and website called Seesaw. Seesaw is an amazing app that is very easy to use, very easy to navigate, even if you're not a tech savvy person. It is something that you should definitely try and explore because it can be used for all learners, all grade levels, and it's a great way for students to stay engaged on a task as well as express their learning in a different way. It allows students to express their learning in a way that is comfortable for them. And they have some privacy with that, and then they have an option to share. It also, Seesaw has a great feature of connecting to parents immediately. So if you share this resource with parents, they can access their students' learning through their phone or device right away. I know a lot of parents work or can't come to back to school night or can't come to conferences, and this is a great way to share learning with those parents, but also to share learning with all parents. I know that if I had a child at school, it would brighten my day to just get an assignment from them on my phone. So it's just such a great resource and a great tool for all learners. So I believe that it really does fall under um, all all universal designs for learning guidelines. I believe that Seesaw falls under engagement, representation, action, and expression. However, really looking deeply at this guidelines um, and the checklist, it falls under sustaining effort and persistence. So it's guideline 8, and then it's 8.1, heightened salience of goals and objectives. So now we're going to go and explore Seesaw. So I already have an account because I've used this in my classroom. At first, I was a little nervous to implement this with my students. My students are 5 and 6 years old. We luckily do have iPads and they're updated iPads, so it is important to have a screen that each student can use on their own. Um, it is nice for them to be able to have the opportunity to share their work, but also have the opportunity to work independently. So you can use this resource with any subject. I really like how academic friendly it is. Um, and it really is academic focused. So in science, we studied living and non-living things. So we went outside, and I am blocking the students' names as well as their faces if there's any pictures of them for privacy. So the students' names are over here. Um, and I am blocking those for the purpose of this activity, but it's really easy. You just add their names to a class list, and then when you are creating an activity, you create it, you post it, and then students are able to access it really fast. So before I create an activity, I model it with students. And luckily, I have a co-teacher with me that works with me at my school, and she's a technology specialist. However, once you really you teach this once or twice, it's super easy to follow, and you get the hang of it really fast. So in writing, we focus on drawing a picture first, then labeling our picture, and then writing. But it is important that students are able to express their writing and share their writing. So we encourage students to talk about their work orally first before writing. So we studied animals, and we studied writing like scientists, so writing nonfiction. So for this activity, students were to think of an animal, draw their animal, label their animal, talk about their animal. It's hard to hear through um, through this right now, but when students are um, representing their learning on Seesaw, they will talk inside a microphone or talk to a microphone. I use headphones in my classroom so other students aren't distracted, but it's really great because they can type, they can draw, they can speak, and then it records their work. So this is one example, and you're not going to be able to hear it, but you can see it. Um, Okay, so what I did with this activity is I actually used Pebble Go, which is another amazing resource for studying nonfiction. So students were able to go on Pebble Go, pick an animal that they wanted to study, and then we used Seesaw where they then wrote about their animal, drew their animal, and labeled their animal, and then spoke about their animal. Um, this is an example that we did for social studies. So we studied community helpers, and I created this. My name is, and this is a, and then I also created this outline of a person. And for kindergarten, they need to know community helpers and what they wear and what tools they use. So their job was to write their name. So Seesaw is great because that you could type, you can write with different tools, and then pick a community helper and then dress up their community helper and speak about their community helper. We also studied penguins. So for this activity, we just gave them a photograph of a penguin and they needed to label the penguin and talk about the penguin, and talk about real facts about the penguin, and that set them up for their writing, and then they wrote in a book about penguins, all about penguins. We also studied seasons, so this is another great example where they were asked to um, share their knowledge of the season fall. So how do we know it's fall? And this is an example of how we had them represent their learning for fall. We put a tree. This tree was already here, and their job was to write the word fall the best that they can, draw the leaves on the tree, the colors that they see in fall, and draw what we wear in the fall, talk about the different clothes that we wear and how it looks different than other seasons. And then we also use this in math. So I thought that was really cool. And they were able to express their learning in math, and we studied comparing sets and also putting numbers in order from least to greatest and greatest to least. So as you can see, there's lots that you can do with Seesaw. It really does support, I think, all of the guidelines, and it can be used for assessments as well. So instead of having students take a paper and pencil assessment, they can just share their learning on Seesaw, and you can use this as an assessment. So I really feel like students love it. They're really engaged. It supports all learners. They have multiple ways of expressing themselves, and it really is super, super engaging. So I definitely think you should check out Seesaw. It's an awesome resource.